Welcome everyone to Grow Smart in the Field. I'm Kurt Martins, BASF Tech Service Rep for Western Illinois and Eastern Iowa. Today we're in northwestern Illinois checking out some winter annual weeds. So stick with me and let's see what's in this field. We're here in northwestern Illinois, just south of Interstate 80. We've got the call to come check out some winter annual weeds. Now, only a few burn downs have taken place so far this season. We're a little bit behind, and we're hoping next week it warms up so we get the sprayers out and hopefully get this season going. So let's go check out this field and see what's going on. When I scout fields like this, I'll select 4 or 5 areas of the field to look at. Usually the 4 corners of the field and a spot in the middle, and I'll weave my way in between those spots looking for weeds. We're at our first spot, so let's see what's out here. Right away, I'm seeing a fair amount of field pennycrest. This winter annual weed is easily identified by the oval-shaped cotyledons and distinct petioles and downward curving tips. Mature leaves are light green with no hair and form a rosette. Leaf margins can be entire or toothed. Leaves on the upper portion of the plant are smooth on the surface and oblong to land shape. When the plant reaches reproduction stages, it produces a dense head of white flowers which turn into flat, circular seed capsules. Many of these plants emerge last fall, but as you can see, some are just coming out of the ground. We were looking at some field pennycrest there, a surefire way to identify it if you're having troubles. Let's pull some, give it a sniff. Field pennycrest has a very strong mustardy smell to it, even when it's this small. Of course, when the field gets a lot bigger, or these plants get a lot bigger in the field, you can smell the field when you pull into the driveway, that's for sure. I've seen it many, many times. So let's keep on moving along to our next spot. I'm starting to see a few patches of common chickweed as I move through this field. Common chickweed is a low, spreading winter annual weed. Its leaves are opposite each other, smooth, and elliptical in shape. When chickweed reaches reproduction stages, it'll put on a small, white, 5-petal flower on the top of each stem. I've seen this weed cause trouble by plugging up field cultivators, if not killed, before the tillage operation begins. Walking up to this waterway, we can see our first summer annual weed of the season emerging, giant ragweed. It's pretty easy to identify with its large cotyledons out. We can also see the remnants of the last year's plants and even a few seeds on the ground. There's also a few giant foxtail heads laying around, but I don't see any emerged yet. On to the next spot. I've been talking about winter annual weed and summer annual weeds, so what's the difference? Summer annual weeds like giant ragweed, water hemp, and giant foxtail germinate from seed in the spring, flower and produce seed during the summer, and die in the summer or fall. Winter annual weeds like pennycrest, chickweed, and henbit germinate in the fall and die in late spring or early summer the following year, although some winter annuals can germinate in the spring. Generally, we use a herbicide program this time of year that will control our existing winter annuals and any emerged summer annuals while laying down our first pass of residual herbicide for the soon-to-be emerging weeds like water hemp and foxtail. I'm only finding a few mare's tail out here, luckily. They're easy to identify by the rosette of hairy, irregular leaves 2 to 3 inches long. Most of the mare's tail in this area is ALS and glyphosate herbicide resistant, making it tricky to control. A good burn down and applying it when the mare's tail is small is crucial for successfully controlling this weed for the entire season. Quite a few shepherd's purse out here, another winter annual that's easy to identify due to its rosette of sharply lobed leaves. It's part of the mustard family, and when this plant reaches its reproductive stages, it'll put on white flowers that'll turn into a triangular or almost heart-shaped seed pod. We're almost done with this field, so on to our last stop. We're going to quickly check our soil temperature here. Pretty cool out here for the middle of April this year. I'm taking this 2-inch soil temperature later in the day, so that tells you how cold it's been. Alright, time to head back to the truck. Alright, we made a full circle around this field, and we're just about back to the truck, so let's just summarize what we've seen. We've seen a lot of field pennycrest, a fair amount of shepherd's purse, a few pockets of chickweed, some mare's tail here and there, but they're pretty small yet. And then the only summer annual weed that I was able to find was some giant ragweed that's just coming out of the ground. Now, it's gonna stay cool for a few more days, but it will warm up here in about another week or so, and all these weeds are gonna take off. And that's when I'd expect to see some other summer annuals start coming out of the ground as well. Definitely there's history of foxtail on this farm and some water hemp. Water hemp's probably a couple weeks away yet, but we know it's coming. So we're not really going to change the plan for this this grower's field. He was planning on using 6 ounces of Zidua Pro with some glyphosate and of course adjuvants MSO and AMS. The Pursuit and the Sharpen components of the Zidua Pro are going to have no problems taking care of the winter annuals that are here. They're also going to provide some great residual, and of course the heavy rated Zidua that's in Zidua Pro is going to be there to help hold off that grass and the water hemp that's going to be coming a little bit later here. If you've got more questions about Zidua Pro or other BASF products, make sure you reach out to a BASF rep or your local BASF retailer, and we'll see you in the field next time.